In this lesson, we're going to talk about action sketches. Now, going back to that line of action I've been really harping on, you want to draw your character in a variety of different poses and in a variety of different actions. And you really want to have movement in your character. And that's why we always start with that line of action. As if we don't start with that, if you just start by drawing the outline of your character, it's really hard to have a plan, figure out where you're going to go. These master animators here always started with that line of action before they went to any details. That one gesture that exemplifies, the whole pose in a simple shape and then building on it. So especially if you're making character concepts, that will be animated. If you're making anything that's going to be in a 2D animation or a 3D animation, a video game, a movie, you really want to have them doing various things and you want to really exaggerate it. You need to try to push it. It's so important in animation, to make things feel real, you actually have to push it farther than real life to make us feel like it actually is real. So it's really important, to go beyond, go that extra step. Even if you think your character looks ridiculous, sometimes it's that ridiculousness that makes them feel more real than if they were just stiff and on the screen. So once you've done that, once you've started with your line of action, then you want to add your forms. Using your knowledge we've gotten from going over how to draw, the character and the figure in this class, you should be able to build a character out of basic geometric forms. Those spheres, those cylinders, things like that. When doing your action sketches, you really should keep them loose. You want to think more about movement. This is about, brainstorming. And I really want you to think about how your character acts and how these sketches, how these movements exemplify your character. I should be able to tell it's your character, despite any details that you have on it. All your sketches should be readable as the same person. And really keeping it simple, like drawing-wise, like they don't have to be elaborate drawings, and focusing more on the movement, the emotion, the exaggeration of it. For example, we've got Rapunzel here from Tangled. So you can see she's in all different poses here, and it's her. In every one of them, you can tell it's the same character. Some of them don't even necessarily really look like her, and that's okay, but it's about getting that character living and moving and coming to life on the page. And even some of these are kind of like awkward poses where she's like in the middle of talking, but those are the important poses, especially when you're making animation, that you get every stage of an action in there and not just, that perfect, pretty standing there pose. So here's Ryder from Tangled. So once again, some of these are pretty rough, others are more refined, but you can tell it's the same character in all of them. And that's what I want to see. I want to see you take that one character and see how you can put them in a variety of different poses and exemplify their personality. And notice how I'm saying you're taking one character that you've designed here and doing that one character in different poses. So I don't want to see different characters. You're choosing one and seeing how you can really experiment and push upon that one person and try to get, really interesting poses and designs here. And personality is a big one. Is your character humorous? A hero? Are they an anti-hero? Are they angry, happy, sad? How can you draw your character in these action poses exemplifies their personality? So we got Roger Rabbit here, and Roger Rabbit is honestly a ridiculous character. He's supposed to be that over-exaggerated anime character. He is goofy all the time, and all the drawings here, he is so animated. He's just a gigantic goofball. He's doing absolutely ridiculous things. And you can see how they really push themselves, the animators, to do completely different things in each one. And some of them he's happy, some of them he's sad, some of them he's upset or scared. And then really trying to see how you can make that same character, feel the same in all these different emotions and in all these different poses. Some are standing, some are running, some are jumping. It's really trying to see how you can have your character alive. You're really turning them to life in this. And then when you do something like this, it's so much easier for the animators to then take this and actually create a moving, living character from it. So Yosemite Sam, he's always angry and mean and aggressive and leaning forward. Looking at all these images here, you can tell it's the same guy, not just by, the shape of his hat, but by, the use of his expressions. Really, there's only two pictures here where he looks happy in some sort of way. All the others just exemplify who this character is, this bad guy who is angry and frustrated all the time. And, one last thing I want to talk about you here is using references. I harp on how important references are. And as I've said, the world is a complicated place. Drawing the human figure is a complicated place. And doing one session of figure drawing is not going to make you a master of it. It takes a lifetime of figure drawing to be great at it. So here I've got some examples. This is Margaret Carey. She was a live model that Disney used. They would bring in models. This model would then, move around the stage, do different poses, and the animators would draw from her, standing right in front of them. They would do drawings. So these master Disney animators, these guys were the kings of the world. They were the top of the animation, sphere. And they were using references. They're using models. And it's so important to use them. And if these guys who were so amazing at this needed a model, then why shouldn't you? Chances are if you're taking this class, you probably haven't had a lot of experience maybe drawing the model or doing animation or anything like that. So I guarantee you are nowhere near the level of these guys. These guys were the best and they still used references. So go out there, look at photos. And the best thing is always taking your own references whenever possible. So I have posed for my own references so many times. I set up my camera on a tripod, put a little timer on my camera, and I will just go crazy doing absolutely ridiculous poses because that's the only way to really learn and see how the body moves. And I can tell you, 2 weeks of studying the figure that we've been doing here is really not enough that you should be really great at drawing, figures out of your head. It's a lifetime. So when you're drawing your character, seriously, you can just take your camera phone, have someone hold it for you, and just tell them to keep taking pictures and you can do the poses. Or you can, have your sister pose or a friend pose, anything. They don't have to be great models, but anything to help give that movement, give that figure, and it'll really help you just capture that action and see how it would look in real life. And then remember, when you're drawing it, think about how you can exaggerate it even more, because that's what's going to make your animations come to life, is exaggerating and pushing it. And look at Tinkerbell. The image is on the right here. The actress looks great. She's, doing a great job making her character come to life. But then look at the animation. See how they really push that pose and stretch out the arms and the legs, and the hair's all flying around and she's smiling big. So they use these references of their model as a starting point to get that anatomy right, see how a figure can really move, and then push it beyond, that space where maybe you're comfortable with, and doing things that are unexpected. And that's how you really get life and character into your models. So really having that basis for reality is always better than having nothing, always better than making up out of your head. And it's something you can keep practicing on your own. And maybe after 30 or 40 years, maybe you can actually do some really good drawings out of your head. But honestly, until then, use references. And chances are you'll probably still be using references at that point, because it is a lifelong journey.